Assalamualaikum class 6. How are you? I hope you all are fine. It's 9 January 2024 and today is Tuesday and according to Islamic calendar, today we have 26 Jamad-e-Thani 1445 Hijri and today is Yawm Salasa. Okay, class 6 or today's topic is about complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, it's our today's topic from minute number 10, complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, class 6, in our previous lessons we have discussed about basic geometry, so many things in our previous two lessons. Like our first lesson was about points, lines and planes, and in second one lesson we have discussed about angles. That what are angles, how angles are formed and how many types of angles are there. You have studied different types of angles, okay, in our previous lessons. All that was from basic geometry and about types of angles, and now in this lesson, in this topic, we have to discuss about complementary and supplementary angles. First of all, we are revising on previous concept. Like in lesson 1, we have studied that what are points, what are lines, and what are planes. Okay, it was our first lesson, and second lesson was about angles. Okay, it was about angles. Actually, points was basic geometry figures, and after the collection of points we got lines, and further we have discussed about planes, and after that, after discussing points, lines and planes, we see that we have studied that different shapes can be formed, different figures can be formed, and we have discussed about angles in our previous lessons, that how angles are formed. If there are two rays sharing a common vertex like this one, this is vertex O, if this is A and this is B, okay, we have studied that if there are two rays OA and OB sharing a common vertex O, then there will be an angle. Okay, this is the definition of angle, actually how angle is formed. The two rays sharing a common vertex, you can give any name to your common vertex. Okay, if they are sharing a common vertex, then there is forming an angle, will be known as angle. Okay, and you will write this as angle. This is the representation for angle. This is the sign, angle AOB. Okay, also you can write that angle AOB with the hat on O. Okay, now by using these terms, we should have basic ideas about points, lines, plane and angles. Now further, you have discussed about types of angles like acute angle, obtuse angle, right angle, reflex angles. We have studied 4 different types: acute, obtuse, reflex and right angles. Okay, and I have given you homework of to differentiate between these angles, that what are acute, what are obtuse, and what are right angles, and what are reflex angles. Okay, now after discussing all these things, we will move forward towards complementary and supplementary angles. That what are complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, now first of all, we will see that what are complementary angles. All of you know that how angles are formed. Okay, now you will see that what are complementary angles. Two angles are known as complementary angles if they add up to 90 degree. Two angles will be known as complementary angles. How many angles? Two angles. Two angles will be known as complementary angles if they are add up to 90 degree. What does it mean? If we are adding two angles, or you can say if we are taking sum of two angles and it will be equals to 90 degree, then you will say that those angles will be known as complementary angles. What does it mean? What are complementary angles? Two angles when adding up, or when we are taking sum of two angles and it is equals to 90 degree, then we will say that these angles will be known as complementary angles. And here I will draw a different examples for you. Okay, first of all you have to write the definition that two angles are known as complementary angles if they add up to 90. Two angles will be known as complementary angles if they add up to 90 degrees. Is it clear to all of you, class? I have written that two angles will be known as complementary angles if they add up to 90 degrees. What does it mean? It means if the sum of two angles will be equals to 90 degree, then that angles will be known as complementary angles. Okay? Is it clear to all of you, my dear students? Okay, very nice. Now we will move forward. Actually, if I am drawing angles like it is approximately 90 degree. Actually, this is board and there will be a minor difference, but when the lines are perpendicular, the angles will be known as right angle, or the angle will be equals to 90 degree. You people are saying that there is an angle of 90 degree. If I am going to split this angle into equal parts, this is an angle of 90 degree. Is it clear to all of you? Because both the lines are perpendicular and making an angle of 90 degree. Now I am going to split this angle. Now I am going to split this angle into equal parts. What does it mean? I am splitting this angle into two equal parts. Now tell me, what will be the value of this angle and what will be the value of this angle? Anyone can tell me from you? Yes, please. Oh, very good. This will be of 45 degree and this will also be of 45 degree. Okay? Because the measurement of complete angle was 90 degree because they are perpendicular, sharing common vertex with perpendicular lines. And when I have break the angle into two equal parts, so split the angles into two equal parts, then obviously this angle will be of 45 degree, half of the 90, and this angle will also be of 45 degree. What does it mean? If I am adding up these angles, let's suppose this is common vertex O, this ray is OA, and this ray is OB, and I am giving the new one ray the name of C. Now this is common vertex O, this is OA, this is OB, and this is OC. Now, please tell me, what are the names of angles now? Can I write it as, according to figure, this angle will be called as angle AOC. Angle AOC. Angle AOC, that is this one, and you can also give name as A, and if I am saying this angle will be known as angle BOC. Angle BOC. Okay, now we will add these angles to check that they are complementary angles or not. Now I am writing this as B. Now sum of angle A plus sum of angle B will be equals to 45 plus 45, and that will be equals to 90 degree. Okay, now is it clear to all of you? Two angles will be known as complementary angles if they add up to 90 degree. There will be so many examples. There could be so many examples. Okay. Now, please, we will discuss one more example about this. Okay, class. Now, further we will discuss another example related to complementary angles. Let's suppose we are drawing an angle of 90 and I am drawing an angle of almost approximately for 30 degree here, and this is common vertex O. This can be A, this can be B, and this can be C. Now this is common vertex O, ray OA, OB, and OC. Total it was of measure 90 degree, and I am actually explaining to you how we can split an angle of 90 degree into two, okay, and how the sum of two angles will be equals to 90 degree. Let's suppose it's an angle of 30. It's an angle of 30 degree. Then what will be the measure of this angle? Can anyone tell me, class? Very good. Excellent. This will be of measure 60 degrees. Very good, Abdullah. It's very nice. This is of 30 degree. This will be of 60 degree. Then obviously the sum of 30 plus 60 will be equals to 90 degree. Yes, it's excellent. Now, what will be the name of these angles? I am writing here that this is angle, this smaller angle 30 degree is equals to P, and this 60 degrees angle will be equals to, let's suppose, Q. Now, I am writing here angle AOB. Angle AOC, angle AOC, this angle AOC. And what is the measure of angle AOC? Please tell me. 30 degrees. Very good. Now, plus I am going to add it with angle BOC. Angle BOC. Now, tell me the measurement of angle BOC. What will be the measure? Very good. 60 degrees. Okay. Now, sum of angle P plus angle Q. Sum of angle P plus angle Q. You can write it as sum of angle P plus angle Q, or you can write it as sum of 30 plus 60 degrees will be equals to 90 degrees. Okay, it means if two angles, if there are two angles and we are going to add these angles and it will be equals to 90 degrees, then these angles will be known as complementary angles. Now, is it clear to all of you? We have discussed two examples. One is about 45 plus 45. It will be equals to 90, and one is about of 30 and 60. Now, when we have added up 30 and 60, it will be equals to 90. Is it clear to all of you? Now, we will move forward towards supplementary angles. Okay, class? Now, we will discuss all next thing that is related to supplementary angles. Two angles known as supplementary angles if they add up to 180 degrees. Next one is supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. Now, two angles, if we are discussing that there are two angles and they are added up to 180 degrees, then they will be known as supplementary angles. What does it mean in simple words? You can say that if the sum of two angles is equals to 180 degrees, then they will be known as supplementary angles. Okay, and if you want to write the definition, you can write that two angles are known as supplementary angles if they add up to 180 degrees. Two angles are known as supplementary angles if they add up to 180 degrees. Okay. Two angles are known as supplementary angles if they add up to 180 degree. It means if we are taking sum of two angles and after taking the sum, it is giving the result is equals to 180 degrees, then they will be known as supplementary angles. Okay, is it clear to all of you? And remember that students, complementary angles and supplementary angles only apply to a pair of angles. The previous one, complementary angles, and this one, supplementary angles, are always apply on pair of angles, not more than two. Pair means only two. It can be applicable for two angles, not more than two or three. Okay. Now, we will discuss a simple example of supplementary angle. All of you know that a straight line has an angle of 180 degree. Very good. If there is a straight line, if there is a straight line, you should know that. And the straight line making an angle of, complete angle of 180 degree. Half, you can say a semicircle. Because all of you know that in a circle, if we have a circle, there is a complete rotation of 360 degrees. 360 degrees. Is it clear? We have discussed it in previous lesson. Okay? It is the revision. Now, if there is semicircle like this, on a straight line, if I am cutting the circle into two equal parts, then what will be the angle? This will be of 180 degree. Okay? Now, there is a straight line and let's suppose I am drawing an angle of 30 degree here. I am drawing an angle of 30 degree here approximately. This is A, this is common vertex O, this is B, and I have drawn an angle of approximately 30. Now, tell me what will be the measure of this angle? Because it's a straight line A, O, B, and I have drawn here an angle of 30 degree. Okay, what will be the measure of this angle? Can anyone tell me? Please think and tell me, class. Because on a straight line, complete angle is of 180 degree, and the measure of this that is 30 degree. I have drawn an angle of 30 degree. Then what will be the measure of second angle? What will be the measure? We should subtract 30 from 180. Then we will get 150 degrees. Okay. This will be of 150 degrees. Now, if I am going to add up these angles, 30 degree plus 150 degree, it will be equals to 180 degree, and this will be known as the pair of these angles will be known as supplementary angles. Yes, is it clear to all of you? Okay, there could be more examples like this. It's the pair of 30 and 150. You can increase or decrease the angle anywhere. Okay, you can take another example, like you can write 45. You can draw an angle of 45 and 130. Let's suppose there is an angle of, and for another example, there is a straight line A, B, and you have drawn an angle of, at common vertex O, there is 45. There is an angle of 45. Now, what will be the measure of next angle? It will be equals to 135 degree. How? If you are subtracting 45 from 180, then you will get 10. You have to take carry. 10 minus 5, 5. 7 minus 4, 3, and it will be equals to 135. So, if I am going to add up these angles, the result will be equals to 180 degree, because the measure of this angle on straight line total will be equals to 180, and this was 45 and this was 135. When we have added up these angles, the result is equals to 180 degree, and two angles are known as supplementary angle if they add up to 180 degree. Okay, supplementary angles. Now, is it clear to all of you? And I have informed you that complementary angles and supplementary angles only apply to a pair of angles and not three or more angles. Yes, is it clear, class? Okay. Now, we will discuss some points. See here, we have discussed only about complementary and supplementary angles, and all of you comes to know that complementary angles are those angles in which, if we are going to add the angles, the result will be of 90 degree, and in supplementary angles, if we are going to add two different angles and the result is equals to 180, then they will be known as supplementary angles. Okay. After discussing complementary and supplementary angles, I am going to tell you that there are different kinds of angles. Let's suppose this is a straight line, and I am drawing an angle of, let's suppose 30, approximately 30. Okay, there is an angle of 30, and there is angle of 150 degree. Okay, it's just a simple example. Okay. Both angles are on a straight line. Is it clear? Similarly, let's suppose there are angles on a straight. This is a straight line. You can draw it more correctly. This is a straight line. Okay, A, B, and let's suppose. See this one. There is an angle, there is an angle, there is also an angle. How many angles are there now? There are three angles. There are two angles and there are three different angles of different measure. Okay, and this common vertex will be known as O. You can write names according to your choice. It's up to you. There is no boundaries to fix the names. Okay. Now, both the figures are on straight lines. Similarly, let's suppose there are two intersecting lines like this one. There are two intersecting lines like this one. Then there is a common point. This is common vertex. This is common vertex. Can anyone tell me how many angles are forming there? Yes class, can anyone tell me how many angles are forming there? 4 angles. Let's suppose angle A, angle B, angle C, angle D. What does it mean? It's a complete circle, you can say like this. Okay. So if there are intersecting lines, there will be opposite angles like A is opposite to B and B is opposite to A, C is opposite to D and D is opposite to C. There will be a pair of opposite angles, okay, by sharing common vertex of intersecting lines, and there how many angles will be formed there? 4 angles, and all the angles are making at an point. You can say these angles and this figure 1 and figure 2 was about straight lines, and figure 3 is about angles on a point, angles on a straight line. You can say that these angles on straight lines. Okay, this is the short representation in geometry. Angles on straight line, angles on point. Okay, is it clear to all of you that what angles on a straight line and what angles at a point and what angles are vertically opposites? Or angles on straight line, angles and points, and now you can see that all these angles are opposite. Like the pair of angles will be opposite. A is opposite to B, B is opposite to A, and C is opposite to D, and D is opposite to C. Yes, is it clear to all of you? In today's topic, this is all about today's what are complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, difference between complementary and supplementary angles we have discussed, and further we have discussed different figures, that what angles on straight lines, angles on points. Okay, now you have to remember all these things. After that, after discussing up to this point, after that you will solve different figures, different angles, different calculations you can do by yourself. Okay class, now your homework is this: you have to draw different angles related to complementary and supplementary. Okay, what is your homework? Homework is draw complementary and supplementary angles of your choice. Sorry. Okay, this is your homework. You have to draw complementary and supplementary angles of your choice. Then I will check your homework. Take care class and Allah Hafiz.